everybody, it's Allison again, stlprostretch.com. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Today's video is going to be for the inflexible. The people who don't even know where to start. They're like, I can barely move. I have a lot of those clients. And it's okay. It can get a little overwhelming sometimes, just because there's so many stretches. But I would say just start with one or two. And so this video we're going to start with just two basic stretches. And then I guess we can move on from there. We're going to kind of do them in pairs because usually if you have a tight muscle, the other side isn't as tight. So if you strengthen the other side and you work on stretching both of them, then they kind of equal each other. We have advanced problem solving. I'm not going to get into that today because it's going to get too confusing. Right now, just remember to work within your range of motion, and if something hurts, stop doing it. And always move and resist. So let's come to the mat and grab a strap. If you do not have a strap, a big towel will do, an old t-shirt, a belt, like if you have any old belts in your closet that you're not using, any number of things that will all work. So we're just going to start with the central hamstring stretch. So I'm going to be on my back, and I'm going to take the strap around the foot and stretch the leg up. Now your leg might only come to here, and that is fine. And the other leg is going to stretch down. I'm going to do a concentric contraction, which means the muscle is going to shorten. So my heel is going to kick down toward the other. I've got the strap around. I'm going to slow the movement down by pulling back with my arms. So there's tension between the two. I'm kicking down, and then I'm going to keep kicking the foot down and then pull back with the arms until I feel a stretch. And then kick it down again and pull back with the arms. Now, you could point your toe, you can flex your toe, like pull your toes back toward your shin. You're going to feel a completely different stretch with this one, doing either direction. So I'm going to work through this about 10 times or so. This is central hamstring, so the balancing muscle would be the hip flexor. So if you're feeling a little jammed up in here in the front of the hip, that's probably why your central your hip flexors need to be stretched. And then you could come back to this one and it'll probably feel a lot easier. But for right now, we're just going to work through one stretch and then do the other one about 10 times or so. I'm working more right now on the eccentric part, so the lengthening part as I bring my heel down. I'm going to keep kicking my heel down, pull back with the strap, and get that stretch. The eccentric contraction, the lengthening phase, is really where most of the neurological connections to the brain are made, and also most of the strength gains are made here. We are stretching and strengthening at the same time. Switch legs. So, kick down, pull back. Kick down. You can work on strengthening here a lot more by holding back with the strap in both directions. I'm really working this. I'm really pushing down with my heel toward the other foot the whole time to get the most out of this stretch. This one in particular always reminds me of Pilates a lot, the reformer. The springs that they use. My strap is the springs. So I'm providing the tension with the strap. And also notice like if one leg feels tighter than the other. And then we're going to work through the balancing muscle, which we're going to go from easy to hard on this one. So the easiest way to do this is, I'm going to grab a yoga block because my arms are really short and I kind of like to have it, but you don't have to have it. So I'm going to put my hand in the back of the right thigh, okay? Just going to hold it there. This foot that I'm holding, this foot's going to be kicking out away from me. So this leg is going to be kicking out away from me. I'm going to hold it steady. This knee is going to pull up toward my chest. As it's pulling up, I am going to push it away. The whole time the knee is pulling up, I'm pushing it away. And then I'm going to bring it in again. I know this doesn't feel like a stretch. It probably won't, and that's okay. The thing about these hip flexors in here is they're hardly ever, I can't think of one exercise in the gym where they're having to work eccentrically, maybe a leg lift and lower, but it's harder to do the lift up. We don't spend as much time on the lowering phase. So I'm going to keep working this eccentric motion on the psoas and also the rectus femoris and the quad, both hip flexors, a little bit of groin, a little bit of TFL, all those hip flexors. And then we're going to switch legs. So now I'm taking my hand around the back of the left thigh. I'm going to be pushing away with this leg and pulling in with the right. I'm going to be slowing that movement down by using my right hand to pull it in. I'm going to keep pulling the knee into the chest and let my arm win and push it away, if that makes any sense. I'm working this hip flexor back and forth. And I grab the block because my arms just sometimes aren't long enough, and I can get a little bit more distance, but not really that much, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Okay, and then we're going to go over the more difficult hip flexor stretch. And if I were you, I would grab blankets, bolsters, pillows, anything that you need. Because I know for some people, my sister is one of them, just being on her knees is really painful. And that really depends on where is that knee pain coming from. If it's coming from inside the knee capsule, I would definitely get it checked out. As usual, if this really hurts, don't do it. But for most people, I would say the knee pain is an issue with the quad being too tight, but also need to work the hamstrings more. So stretching the hamstrings, all of them can help. So I'm on my left knee. I'm bringing my right knee forward. Use something like a chair for balance so you don't tip over. I'm going to imagine my inner thighs pulling together. So this knee, I'm going to imagine this knee pulling in toward my chest. Straighten up to the opposite of sticking your butt out. And imagine this knee pulling in toward your chest. We're going to start here. Knee in toward the chest as you pull back. Now keep that feeling going. You should feel like your front foot is pulling toward you as you do the opposite of sticking your butt out. So imagine your inner thighs pulling together at this point. And then slowly let it go. Pulling together. Keep this pulling together feeling as you shift forward. Keep straight up and down until you feel a stretch. Inner thighs pull together again. Keep them pulling together and then shift forward. Pull them together again and shift forward. Ideally, we want to work through like 10 of these. That would be great. And then switch sides. So there's a number of ways to think about doing this. You can imagine your inner thighs pulling together, or you can imagine this front knee pulling forward and your front foot pulling back. Whatever works for you. As we move forward, I like to imagine my back knee, as I'm coming back, pulling in toward my chest like a fetal position. Keeping that contraction holding, straight up and down to the opposite of sticking your butt out. Forward, and then pull that knee into the fetal position. Or obviously it's not going to get to the fetal position, but that's what we want. Keep it contracting as you shift forward. Okay, and that's it for today. 2 stretches. That's it. We've got 4 more pairs of stretches, 3 more pairs of stretches to go with the legs before we get through them all. But now you know central hamstring and hip flexor. And that's it for today. I will see you next time. Happy stretching. Bye-bye.